She thought he was humiliating her blind daughter. In anger, she fired him on the spot, but only later did she discover the janitor had seen something no doctor ever did. If this story from Sunny Spot touched your heart, show your love, like, share, and comment your thoughts. Have you ever judged someone in a single moment, only to later discover that the very thing you condemned was the one reason your world didn't collapse? Imani Washington never forgot the day she fired the school janitor. She thought she was protecting her blind daughter, but in truth, she was pushing away the only man who saw what no one else could. Imani's life had been shaped by sacrifice. Ever since her husband abandoned her, she had carried the full weight of raising 9-year-old Amara alone. Amara was born with a rare eye disease, and by the time she was 6, her sight had nearly vanished. Now she lived in a world of shadows, guided more by sound, smell, and touch than by sight. To Imani, protecting Amara was not just a duty, it was her whole purpose. Every day was a battle. Parents of healthy children might worry about grades or messy rooms. But Imani worried about stairs, curbs, cruel laughter in the playground, and the crushing fear that her daughter would grow up thinking she was less than others. Imani's love for Amara was fierce, but behind that love lived exhaustion and anger at a world that wasn't built for children like hers. One Thursday, Imani arrived late to pick Amara up from music club. She hurried down the corridor, her heels clacking, heart pounding with guilt. When she reached the room, the sight before her froze her in place. Amara sat on a chair while Samuel Jones, the janitor, knelt in front of her. He was a quiet man in worn overalls, graying hair thinning at the crown, a limp in his step, and hands roughened by years of labor. Most people at school barely noticed him, but at that moment, he was holding a small flashlight, shining its beam gently into Amara's eyes. "What are you doing?" Imani's voice cracked like a whip. Samuel flinched, lowering the light. Amara tensed. I thought I saw something unusual in her eyes," Samuel stammered softly. "The way they reacted to light." "You had no right," Imani snapped, storming forward and pulling Amara close. "She's blind. Do you know how cruel that is? To shine a light at her as if she's some experiment." Samuel's shoulders sagged. "I was only trying." "You're fired." Imani cut him off, trembling with fury. "I'll see the principal tomorrow. Don't come near my daughter again." Samuel didn't argue. He simply set the flashlight down, nodded once, and walked away, his limp more pronounced than usual. Amara whispered, "Mom." He wasn't being mean. But Imani's voice broke. "Sweetheart, some people don't understand. I won't let anyone hurt you." That night, as Amara slept, Imani replayed the janitor's face in her mind. There had been no cruelty there, just urgency, almost desperation. Still, her anger drowned out the doubt. The next morning, she went straight to Principal Davis. "That janitor, Samuel Jones, he shone a flashlight in my daughter's face." "Fire him." Principal Davis sighed. "Samuel has worked here 20 years. Are you sure he meant harm?" "I don't care," Imani insisted. "He crossed the line." And with that, Samuel lost his job. For a week, life went on. Imani buried herself in work, dinners, bedtime routines. But unease gnawed at her. Then one Friday evening, Amara came home shaken. "Mom," she whispered, "today in class I saw something. A flicker, like light, just for a second. I'm not imagining it." Imani froze. Her daughter hadn't seen anything clearly in years. "Are you sure, Amara?" "Yes," she said firmly. "It was real." That night, Imani stayed up searching online. She discovered something shocking. Children with Amara's condition sometimes retained a partial response to light. Often, it was missed, assumed to be total blindness. But if caught early, therapies could preserve or even restore fragments of vision. Her heart raced. Could Samuel have been right? Guilt hit her like a wave. She had stripped him of his job, his dignity, when he may have been the only one to notice what even doctors had overlooked. The next morning, she drove to the address listed in his file. Samuel's house was small, weather-worn, its garden overgrown. When he opened the door, surprise flickered across his tired eyes. "Mrs. Washington," he said quietly. "Please," Imani blurted, her voice trembling. "I was wrong about everything. You saw something in Amara's eyes, didn't you?" Samuel hesitated, then nodded. I've seen it before with my daughter. Imani's breath caught. You had a daughter. She had the same disease, he murmured, his voice shaking. The doctors told us it was hopeless. But sometimes when light hit her eyes, I saw a reaction. I begged them to look deeper, but it was too late. She passed away at 11. His eyes glistened. When I saw your girl, I couldn't stand by. I thought maybe she still had a chance. Imani's tears fell freely now. And I threw you out. Samuel shook his head gently. You were protecting her. Any parent would have. No, Imani said firmly. You cared when no one else did. Please come with us. Help me fight for Amara. For a moment, Samuel's weathered face softened. If you'll have me, yes. The following week, they visited a specialist. Amara sat in the dark examination room, nervous fingers twisting her sleeves. The doctor flicked beams of light in different directions. She's responding, he said slowly. Not much, but enough. If we start therapy immediately, we may preserve what's left, perhaps even improve it. Imani's chest heaved with relief. She gripped Samuel's hand tightly, gratitude radiating from her eyes. For the first time in years, hope didn't feel like a cruel dream. Over the months that followed, Samuel became part of their journey. He drove them to appointments, encouraged Amara, told her stories of resilience. Imani watched as her daughter blossomed under the warmth of his presence. He wasn't just a janitor anymore. He was family, and though Amara's vision never returned fully, she regained enough to sense outlines, colors, the gentle glow of sunlight. She once whispered to her mother, I can see your shape, Mom. You look like love. At Amara's next school concert, she stood on stage, her cane at her side, her little voice steady as she sang. Imani sat in the front row, tears streaming, while Samuel sat beside her, pride shining through his tired eyes. Imani thought back to that day in the music room, the day she had judged him as nothing more than a janitor with a flashlight. And she realized something. Sometimes the people we overlook carry the greatest light of all. She leaned towards Samuel and whispered, You saw what no one else could. You saved her. Samuel's eyes glistened. And for the first time in years, his grief felt lighter. And Imani understood. Sometimes miracles don't arrive in white coats or shining armor. Sometimes they come in worn boots carrying a mop, with a heart still brave enough to believe in hope.